think just being out in nature is totally therapeutic. You know, just taking it that step further into life completely changes your life. So it's almost a surreal experience. It's hard to put into words.
Through contemplation, one recognizes that the natural world never lies. It is there where we find truth of our Creator.
How do we know that there's a God? How do we know that there's a Creator that whom should be worshipped? Why should we not consider the theories of natural selection or the Big Bang or the concept of perpetual evolution as plausible evidence for the existence of the world or creation or universe? Because none of these theories can deny the fact that macro and micro systems are arranged, fixed, proportioned, measured, determined, limited, synchronized, and given distinct characteristics and parameters that they cannot go beyond or exceed. Whatever position that you want to arrive at, you or I, concerning a divine Creator and Almighty God, one thing is for certain. We cannot deny that all of us exist. Do we exist? If you agree with me that we all exist, that we're all here, and we are subsisting and being sustained through a unique balance of environmental phenomena that we are not the authors of, then someone, some great power has to be, must be the author and responsible for all of this.
Do you really think all this perfection evolved by chance? The same author and creator who has blessed every second of our lives and put so much perfection and care into every aspect of his creation will never abandon us. And as the future is bleak, we turn to him and him alone for hope, truth, and divine justice. that Dajjal will materialize and take to his throne in Israel. Final victory will be for those who will follow Imam Mahdi and who will recognize the true Messiah, Jesus. But sadly, the majority of the world will follow the false Messiah, believing him to be the true one, because the new worldly order has been deeply at play. Securing such deception occurs. Through all their outlets, they have been working to move you away from the truth. Have you seen the theories of today concerning God, religion, and mankind? Do you see the common denominator? There is no God. You are God. You evolved from apes. Do as thou wilt. Those that believe any of these ideas have fallen into the trap of Dajjal, pushing you away from God so that they may start to control you, to use you like a tool. Why else has every monotheistic faith been attacked by those in power? Why have they continued to attack the true prophets of God? Because these prophets have come to free mankind from the tyranny of rulership. And that is not acceptable to those in power. In a world of deception, this is how truth will always be treated.
I would like to start by saying that I came to stand right next to you to make you cut the intro short because I wanted to speak from my heart and not through any particular position that this temporary world may have given me. I'm also being very challenged right now, although I am a public speaker, because I want to say a meaning that is very sincere. And I think sincerity is something that is very difficult and a very rare commodity nowadays. And I'm speaking for myself. I think that the very word personality, finding its root in the Latin word persona, means mask. And I just don't want to have a mask as I speak. And I'm hoping that before we all leave, as I'm sure a lot of us have already done, we have shed our masks. And we've truly looked at each other's faces, trying to genuinely understand what each of us on the other side truly represents. I would like to read a verse from the Quran in personal pursuit of inspiration for what it is I would like to say in the following maybe 2 or 3 minutes. If you allow me to, those who believe in the Quran are going to listen to it, seeing what Allah, the Creator, is saying to them. But those who don't be offended. I'm not patronizing you. Just listen to it in whatever way, shape or form you would like to listen to it in. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير.
In essence, the teachings of Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad are about one God and one message: So why is there no unity between faiths today? There isn't even unity amongst the sects within the same faith. Mankind is in desperate need of brotherhood. We need to start healing the world one step at a time, one person at a time. No matter what you believe in, we all share basic moral principles, and no one can deny that. Whomever you look towards as your spiritual guide, you have to learn to accept our differences in opinion and learn to build upon our common ground.
Is, O people, O humanity, O mankind, we, and this is the royal we of power, it's not plurality, we, God, we have created you from a pair, from a male and a female, and we have made you into peoples and tribes, that you may know one another, that you may know one another.
Still think of yourself Chinese, or do you ever think of yourself as North American?
You know what I want to think of myself? As a human being. Because, I mean, I don't want to sound like, as Confucius say, but under the sky, under the heaven, man, there is but one family. It just so happened, man, that people are different.
I think that I would like to leave it off saying that to me, in this context, Allah, God, is, if I'm allowed to say, synonymous in this context with truth, beauty, and justice, and the sovereign good. And I think that everybody here, in one way or the other, and I've met pretty much everyone here, I think that everybody here believes that there is something true. You wouldn't be here if you believed that nothing can be true, and that there is something beautiful, one way or the other, again, and that there is something good, because everybody here has good in them, and that there is justice. But the only difference between us is how we define, respectively, justice, truth, beauty, and good. So let me just tell you that, wallahi, by Allah, I swear to you, it's all semantics. And if we sit down enough and talk, we will understand one another.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Do you believe that men alone were able to carry out this global conspiracy of deception and power? When you study the history of the elite, their plans unfold almost completely according to plan. How? Why would these elite and occult societies dedicate their lives to a plan that won't materialize in their lifetime? Because the goals of this plan have not been planned out by mere men, but by a force far more sinister. Men have sold their soul for this plan in return for worldly rewards of wealth and power. But who is really benefiting? Shaitan, architect of the New World Order. It's time to connect all the pieces of the puzzle. This age of deception is all around us. The false Messiah in Islam is called Dajjal. Al-A'war al-Dajjal, which literally translates to the one-eyed deceiver. Is it just coincidence that this title was given to this false Messiah? Is it just coincidence that the elite have chosen the one eye as their symbol? He has already been ruling this earth for years through his Illuminati minions.
If you look, you'll see the pyramid is built except for the top. It's built except for the top. The eye is suspended above the top. It hasn't come down yet. Because they believe until they finished the Masonic project, which is the what they say on the bottom, Novus Ordo Seclorum, and then Annuetta Chapters, he is pleased with our project. In other words, the God they believe in is pleased with our project. What is the project? This is the question. What is the project that this God is pleased with? The project is literally the secularization of the world. To completely strip the world from religious beliefs. This is the project, and that is why it is called Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new secular or worldly order.
The Quran and the Prophet, Allah's blessings be upon him, directed our attention to another actor, as powerful as Gog and Magog. Who is he? He is Dajjal, the false Messiah, or the Antichrist. Why is he known as the false Messiah? Simple. Because his mission is to impersonate the true Messiah. The true Messiah was the son of Mary, Nabi Isa alayhi salam, Jesus. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. When Allah sent him, he was sent as the true Messiah with a mission to rule the world from Jerusalem, from Holy Israel. And so Dajjal is close to the completion of his mission. The Messenger of Allah, Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, informed us of the release of Dajjal into the world during his lifetime. During his lifetime. He went on to say that when Dajjal is released into the world, he would live on earth for 40 days. One day like a year, one day like a month, one day like a week, and the rest of his days like your days. That when Dajjal was in a day which is like a year, Britain was his headquarters. And when Dajjal moved to a day which is like a month, the United States of America became his headquarters. And finally, when Dajjal is going to be in a day which is like a week, he comes back home to the Holy Land. He comes back home to the Holy Land. Dajjal has already completed his first phase, a day like a year, when Britain was the ruling state in the world and the sterling pound was the international currency. And then Dajjal moved to a day which is like a month, and the United States replaced Britain as the ruling state in the world. And the US dollar became the international currency. And now the United States is about to relinquish power, and Israel is about to replace the United States as the ruling state in the world. And what will be the new money? Answer: the US dollar is going to be attacked and it will collapse and bring down all the paper money of the world with it. You won't see paper money after that. Well, then what's going to be money? What's the new money that Israel will use to enslave mankind? The way the United States used the US dollar. Answer: Israel is going to use invisible money, you can't see it. Intangible money, you can't touch it. It will be electronic money. And the strange thing, the dangerous thing about electronic money is it is controlled by the banking system around the world, and the Jews control the banking system. That's not an uncharitable statement. That's not an invalid statement. That's the truth.
From the start of the British monarchy at 900 AD until the ending of the First World War, Britain was the homeland of Dajjal, when one day was like a year. But with the US victory in World War I and World War II, power was transferred from England to the United States of America, when one day was like a month. And on September 11, 2001, power was transferred to Israel, when one day is like a week. And this is the phase we live in today. Since that date, the United States establishes its bases in over 10 countries across the Middle East, securing the rulership and safety of Israel as the final capital of the New World Order, the last phase, before the Antichrist Dajjal arrives.
But now, the United States takes over from Britain as the new ruling state in the world.
In the same way that Britain had a mysterious relationship with the Holy Land and with the Jews, the United States now has that mysterious relationship with the Holy Land and with the Jews. The first country in the world to recognize the State of Israel is the United States of America. It's not by accident. We are located at that moment in time.
Recognize that there's another people living here. Let's see what we can work out. No, the whole idea of Israel until today is this is our country from the Mediterranean to the Jordan River, and it's only our country. It's exclusively our country. There is no other people. There's a bunch of Arabs living here, that we know. But there's no people, there's no other people with a claim to the country, with a legitimate right to the country. This is our country exclusively. Therefore, either you shut up if you're a Palestinian, and you live in one of the little islands we'll give you, by sufferance, not by rights, or get out.
And as power has been handed over from the United States to Israel, as the ruling state in the world, events have been put into play to secure its rulership. And it is this rulership that has become the basis of most of the world's problems. Since September the 11th, wars and deals that have been signed have taken place for the sole protection, establishment, and security of the State of Israel, where any opposition will always be fought. It all began, as it always does, with Shaitan.
Most secret societies and secret orders tend to attach themselves to the Prophet Suleiman. The most famous of these secret orders being the Freemasons. One of the most central and influential aspects driving the ideology of the Freemasons is the concept of rebuilding the Temple of Solomon. Other orders include the Jewish mystical schools, the Kabbalah, who practice magic that they claim to have learned from the Prophet Suleiman. In fact, there is some truth to this concept, that there existed the teaching of magic during Solomon's time and before it. However, the origin of the magic did not come from Prophet Suleiman, but from Babylon. We know from history that the kingdom of the Jews was destroyed by Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar. After defeating and breaking apart the Jewish kingdom, took the Jews back to Babylon, or modern-day Iraq, as slaves. It was in Babylon where the Jews faced great oppression and tyranny from the dictatorship that ruled there. It was also in Babylon that, having been cut off from their scripture, the Torah, the Jews of that time were forced to write a new scripture they named the Talmud. A group of 70 rabbis come together in writing this book after being influenced by the environment around them, which has now become the central law of Talmudic Jews. Whilst in Babylon, they had also acquired the knowledge of magic. During and before the time of King Solomon, there were devils, certain jinn, who were teaching the people magic and the dark arts. When Prophet Suleiman came to know about these devils, he took away from the people all of their manuscripts and recordings of these teachings, and buried them under his throne.
The Talmud was influenced by the teachings of Babylon, the teachings of one of the cursed civilizations in Islam, where King Nimrod reigned during the age of Abraham. It teaches Zionists that they are a supreme race, that all others are lesser beings. It aims for several agendas surrounding Jerusalem and the Temple of Solomon. These goals are heavily tied up with the origins of secret societies,
didn't reappear for more than 1,000 years, when knights from the First Crusade discovered secret vaults beneath the Temple of Solomon. You see, the knights who found the vaults believed that the treasure was too great for any one man, not even a king. They brought the treasure back to Europe and took the name, the Knights Templars. Over the next century, they smuggled it out of Europe. They formed a new brotherhood called the Freemasons in honor of the builders of the Great Temple. Now look here, man. The Freemasons, among our founding fathers, left us clues like these. The unfinished pyramid, the all-seeing eye, symbols of the Knights Templar, guardians of the treasure. They're speaking to us through these. A treasure beyond all imagining.
Creating a new world order, where faith is lost, and the masses are blind and ignorant, and by dividing and conquering those who are ready to oppose. The Illuminati was established by banking dynasty and self-proclaimed Satanists, the Rothschilds. Who do you think is really in control today? The Zionist banking families, mainly the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. Who financed Hitler and the world wars? The Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. In order to fulfill their prophecy of their Messiah, by pushing their people back into the Holy Land, which to them is one of the last steps in building the world for their Messiah.
The Rothschilds, whose front companies had helped finance Hitler and the Jewish slave labor camps, had turned Jewish Holocaust victims into victimizers. Imprisoned inside barbed wire refugee camps, the Palestinians began to resemble the victims of Nazi concentration camps. According to author Simon Schama, the Rothschilds own 80% of the land of Israel. Even the flag of Israel flies the hexagram symbol from the Rothschild family's red shield. The hexagram has 6 points, 6 triangles, and 6 sides on the central hexagram.
For millennia, Jerusalem's Temple Mount has been at the forefront of the battle of the great monotheistic religions. And once again today, passions are threatening to spill over into bloodshed.
I want the whole world to hear me. Al-Aqsa is in danger. Al-Aqsa is in danger. As God is my witness, I tell you, someone is conspiring to destroy Al-Aqsa.
Yesterday evening, the police, Jerusalem District Department assessed the situation. We're continuing our police measures in order to maintain the situation.
Beginning of February 2007, the Israel Antiquities Authority began excavating just outside the Temple Mount compound near Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Western Wall. The authority says this work was in preparation for the erection of a permanent ramp leading to one of the Temple Mount gates. The Muslim community in the Palestinian areas and Israel was enraged. It's the third incident in a month involving archaeological digging close to Al-Aqsa Mosque, and Muslim leaders claim more covert operations are taking place.
There are tunnels dug from more than one direction. One of them goes from the Silwan neighborhood toward the sacred Al-Aqsa Mosque. They destroy the mosque gradually. By this act, they call for a wide religious war in the region.
Israel strongly denies any digging in the Temple Mount compound and beneath Al-Aqsa Mosque. Highly respected rabbis join in denials of excavations, pointing out the site is the holiest in Judaism, with many saying that Jews are forbidden from entering because of its holiness.
Today, till Messiah will come, and we will be pure enough to climb up the mountain. We cannot pray there, not because it's not ours, because it's the dearest and the holiest place.
It has always been about securing the land for Dajjal. It is no coincidence that many of us do not even know what the Aqsa Mosque looks like. This is not the Aqsa Mosque. This is the Dome of the Rock. But nonetheless, every time the Aqsa Mosque is mentioned in the media, the image of the Dome of the Rock is displayed. We are being purposely manipulated so that when the true Aqsa Mosque is destroyed, we won't even know. It's time we knew the difference. As you watch this now, efforts are continuing in the digging and slow but steady destruction of Al-Aqsa, to destroy it in order to build their temple over it, to prepare it for the arrival of their Messiah, the Dajjal.
When Britain left the Holy Land, she left like a thief in the dark. For the first time, for the only time in British history, there was no legal transfer of power from Britain to the successor state. In 1948, Britain acted as the midwife for the baby to be born. The European Jewish state of Israel. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, about Dajjal, that he would ride on a donkey, and the donkey would travel as fast as the clouds. And the donkey would have his ears stretched down wide. He said that donkey is already here in the world. This is religious symbolism. The donkey is the modern aircraft. And since the Antichrist brings with him the modern aircraft, he says that the Antichrist would step into the ocean and the water would reach him up to his knees. Again, I want to suggest to you that we're dealing with religious symbolism. The Antichrist would be jumping about between the heavens and the earth. Jumping about. Said the prophet.
2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond.
The Antichrist Dajjal has been in control for years through his minions. By now you should recognize their symbols, their rituals, their positions, their bloodline. He is working through them, and they are building the world for him. One generation after another, they establish the new world order as it exists behind closed doors. He is almost here. What hope do we have against such forces?
يجيلكم بكل سنة أتزيد بيتكم أبد رشاقة كم أنكنا نفسين بيت السوري لتكايليا بابا
Jerusalem has been at the pinnacle of most of the events occurring in the world today. The forces of good and evil have been at play, trying with all their might to secure this land. But for what? What good will a piece of land do considering the bigger picture of things? It is only when you understand the concept of a Messiah does the picture become clear. The Illuminati have a Messiah they want to welcome to this earth. A Messiah they believe can only rule from the land of Jerusalem. A Messiah that they have been indoctrinating the world into believing in. A Messiah who will uphold the modern system we live in today. A Messiah who will attempt to rid the world of faith. A Messiah that we know as the Antichrist Dajjal.
not only has there been this curious relationship between Britain and the United States, that Britain and the Holy Land and Israel, which you cannot explain with normal tools of political analysis, but also with the United States and Israel. Which political scientist there is in the world today who can offer a rational explanation for the curious relationship that exists between the United States and Israel? And modern Western civilization has armed Israel. Transfer of technology, transfer of military technology, massive economic aid, massive financial aid, to the extent that Israel is now a superpower. And to the extent that Israel is now poised to take over from the United States as the ruling state in the world. Modern Western civilization has an unwritten conception of the end of history, which is connected with the Holy Land. There is an actor at work in modern Western civilization, which is constantly using modern Western civilization to achieve his objective. There is an actor at work in modern Western civilization. There is an actor at work. I recognize that actor to be the false Messiah, Dajjal. We were told about a divine promise which was communicated to the Israelite people, that Allah was going to send a prophet who would be known as Al-Masih, the Messiah, and who would rule the world with justice, confirmed by Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. He would be Hakimun Adil. He would rule the world with justice from the throne of Nabi Dawood alayhi salam, the Prophet David, and with a rule which would be eternal. The Israelite people understood that if the Messiah was to fulfill this divine promise, there were certain logical implications which followed. Number one, that he would have to liberate the Holy Land. Number two, that he would have to bring the believers back to the Holy Land to reclaim it as their own. Number three, that he would have to restore the holy state of Israel, founded by David and Solomon, Allah's blessings be upon them. And number four, that this holy state of Israel would have to become once again the ruling state in the world. And then the Messiah could rule the world from the throne of David alayhi salam, with a rule which would be eternal. What they did not know, and no one knew, for 600 years no one knew, until the Quran came down, was that no, they did not kill him, no, they did not crucify, but rather appearance and reality were completely opposite to each other. And Allah raised him, and one day he's coming back. When he comes back, he is going to rule the world. He will rule the world with justice, and he will rule the world from the holy state of Israel, built on the foundations of the religion of Abraham, alayhi salam. And that is Islam. And his rule will be eternal. The Messiah will descend from the heavens with his hands resting on the wings of two angels. At that time when he comes down, it would be as he came the first time. The first time that he came in front of his cousin, John the Baptist. And the divine wisdom ordained that John would say, here he is. This is the man you've been waiting for. This is the Messiah. And so a method of positive identification. And so history repeats itself when he comes back. When he comes back, he'll come back before another similarly divinely appointed individual who would be a worldly leader, while the Son of Mary will be a spiritual leader of that last stage. That individual was described as the rightly guided leader. Imam means leader, Mahdi, rightly guided.
Constantly in the news we hear two terms: the New World Order and globalization. How many times do you hear these terms? The New World Order, globalization. Both of them indicate a development in the human being where there is so much integration. The world has become a small world. And there is 6 degrees of separation between me and between you. In such an environment where there is a new world order, that world order, is it looking to prepare and pave the way for the Imam? Or are they looking to destroy the message of the Imam? As in when you read about the new world order, materialistically globalization is a reality. But spiritually there must be another discussion happening. That new world order, you will find in many cases, have already started to try and demolish the message of the Imam. And the undertones are there in many of the media industry about the undertones to finish this messianic concept. Therefore you find on all of these levels, what do we see? We see that the discussion of the utopia is a fundamental discussion. Every one of the world religions today believes that one day there will be a state which will be a state of justice, where tyranny will be completely removed. If you look, for example, within Hindu thought, or within Zoroastrian thought, or within Jewish thought, or within Christian thought, or within Islamic thought, each one of these religions postulates a theory that there will one day be an ideal state, a state where there will be no poverty, a state where there will be no misery, and a state where a messianic figure will bring success for God's chosen people. And if you look within the religion of Islam, the idea is given within each and every school of the religion of Islam that the Mahdi will be the one who establishes the perfect state. This discussion is a contemporary discussion, not a historical one. Why? Because the belief in the Mahdi is a belief obligatory on every Muslim. Every Muslim in the world today, it's obligatory on them, according to their scholars, to believe in the Messiah that is the Mahdi. Yes, some believe he is born, and others believe he is yet to be born. But you must believe in him as the reality of someone who will bring justice to the earth. That's why we should be organizing conferences every year, where we invite every imam of every school in Islam, and we invite the leaders of other religions and tell them, come sit next to us, let us discuss our Mahdi and let's discuss your Mahdi as well. Because don't think that in Hinduism or Sikhism they don't have a Mahdi. There is a Mahdi at the very core of the Indian subcontinent, a Messiah who will bring justice. It's a Muslim and a non-Muslim issue. Therefore when we talk of this utopia, the builders right now are not all Muslims. The builders right now are any human being who is seeking to promote godly values on earth.
final Imam and Khalif of this world. He will raise an army to challenge the final arrival of the Antichrist Dajjal. With his fight, Imam Mahdi will prepare the world for the return of our true Messiah, Jesus. Since the time of the ancients, there has been two distinct systems that have shaped the affairs of our world: the system of the Pharaoh and that of righteousness. The two distinct systems have also been shaped by two distinct bloodlines. The bloodline of Pharaoh, from Ramses II until the rulers of England and America, and the bloodline that has led the battles of yesterday and will lead the victory of tomorrow against all oppression. The bloodline of Abraham, who begot Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Aaron, David, Solomon, Jesus the Messiah, and Muhammad the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon them all. And it is this very bloodline that will conquer the armies of Shaitan at the end of time, through Jesus the Messiah and Imam Mahdi, alayhim as-salam. Leaders from the purified bloodline of Abraham against leaders from the tainted bloodline of Pharaoh. Are you ready for their arrival? Are you ready for the great battle of our time?
الشلاك يشوان خالد أمر لنا أن أنت مشيك
هو أنا تقصني بارناش يفيد بهمين خير
The message of Jesus Christ was a simple message. He said to his people when they asked him, "Oh, Rabbi, teach us how to pray." He said, "Our Father who art in heaven." He didn't say, "My Father who I'm with in heaven. Hallowed be, praise be thy name." Not my name and our name, but thy name. Thy kingdom come. Not my kingdom come, but thy kingdom come.
What is Islam's view of the end of history? It is the same. It is the same as the Christian view. It is the same as the Jewish view. That there is eternal conflict between truth and falsehood. That final triumph of truth over falsehood would culminate with events which are unfolding in the Holy Land. They're saying the same thing as we are saying. That the events which are unfolding in the Holy Land would themselves culminate with the true Messiah coming to rule the world from Jerusalem. We are not the only ones who are saying this. That false Messiah, in order to impersonate the true Messiah, must rule the world from Jerusalem, from a state of Israel. And when Jesus comes back, he's going to come back to rule the world from Jerusalem. When we see events unfolding in the Holy Land, in the way they are unfolding, number one, the liberation of the Holy Land for the Jews. Number two, the return of the Jews to the Holy Land to reclaim it as their own. Number three, the restoration of the state of Israel in the Holy Land, which has a PhD in oppression and a PhD in decadence. This cannot be the Holy Israel of David and Solomon. Allah's blessing be upon them. No. This is the work of the Antichrist, of Dajjal, the false Messiah.
Well aware of the role of our Messiah and our Mahdi, and they haven't delayed in their efforts of weakening us all. They have tried to kill our motivation, to direct our emotions at false causes, to implement materialism and the concept of dunya into our lives. All so that when our saviors come, we would be too caught up in their system of corruption to notice. They have made sure that their Messiah, the Dajjal, will have an army of followers far greater than that of the Mahdi and Isa. The global conspiracy as it exists in the world today has all been for one purpose and one purpose alone. Every single aspect of it. The wars that have been in effect, the peace treaties that have been signed, the trade embargoes, the financial collapse, the media war on Islam, the inside job heard round the world, the subliminal messaging, the mass mind control, the secret knowledge of the pharaohs, the sorcery of pop music, the alliance of man and jinn, the battle for your mind, body, and soul. All of it has been building up for one purpose. The arrivals.
Dajjal will now attack. He's now in a day which is like our day. When he attacks, he's going to be riding on a donkey, which will travel as fast as the clouds, and which will have his hair stretched out wide. As they attack Makkah and Medina, the angels defend Makkah and Medina. This is there in Sahih Muslim. And the attack is diverted to Damascus. And then the confrontation takes place. Dajjal is outside and the Imam is inside the masjid. And now history repeats itself. We got them now. There is no escape. We have them in our sights now. As someone else was rubbing his hands, as his army was approaching them, and in front of them was the sea, and behind them is the army, and they're rubbing their hands. We got them now. Who is he? Fir'aun. And so history repeats itself. But at the last moment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Musa alayhi salam, take your rod and strike the water. And then the divine intervention took place, the miracle. And the believers were saved. As the Jews are rubbing their hands, we've got them now, we've cornered them. At that last moment, history repeats itself. The Son of Mary comes down with his hand resting on the wings of two angels.